I thought VeChain was another supply chain token. Boy, was I wrong. It turns out that while everyone else was watching price charts, VeChain quietly set up something that made me want to dust off my old college hoodie and crash a university workshop. Now, it all started with a late night scroll on X. I see this post from the VeChain builders team talking about a series of workshops at UK universities, accumulating in an online hackathon open to anyone, anywhere. Now, the workshops and a hackathon with a $30,000 prize pool for the winners. Consider my curiosity officially piqued. I mean, I'm not even a developer by trade, but suddenly I was imagining myself hunched over a laptop, chugging coffee and coding into the wee hours for a shot at that prize. So here's the thing, VeChain isn't just throwing a random hackathon. They're actually partnering with top UK universities to nurture the next generation of Web3 builders. Basically, they're going on a talent scouting tour at campuses, saying, hey, come and build on our blockchain. We'll help you out. And by help, I mean serious help, grants, mentorships, funding, the works. For a developer, that is kind of like being handed free tools and a roadmap, plus someone offering to hold your hand when you hit a bug. More on that in a second. So, the program is a mix of in-person workshops and an online hackathon. Even if you're not in the UK, no worries. Everything is streamed online, making it globally accessible. Now, you could be coding from your dorm, your bedroom, or a beach in Bali if that's your style. Now, VeChain basically said no one gets left out. If you have an internet connection, you're invited. And I kind of love that. It's 2025 after all. Learning to build on blockchain shouldn't require a plane ticket. Okay, let's talk about the schedule then, right? They've lined up a whole summer crash course here, right? August 5th kicks off with the Solidity fundamentals. This is the bread and butter of smart contracts. Then August 18 moves into the back-end development and SDKs. Basically, it's because once you kind of write a smart contract, you need the back-end muscle to actually turn it into a real application. August 29 is all about the front end and using VeChain's own dev tools like vWorld and VeChain Kit. So think of these as VeChain's special power tools and starter kits for building dApps. Now, come September 1st, they're exploring something called VeBetter in detail. And I'll admit, at first I was like, V what now? But it's actually basically VeChain's sustainability-focused ecosystem initiative. September 8th will focus on interoperability with VeChain. In plain English, that means that they'll have to show how VeChain can connect to other blockchains. And if you want your app to talk to Ethereum or to Bitcoin or others, this is the session that you're not going to want to miss. September 15th features a full stack development example and a live AMA, that's Ask Me Anything. And by this point, you've basically walked you through building a complete VeChain app front to back, and now you get the brains, at least to pick the brains of VeChain experts in real time. Finally, on September 22nd, the training wheels come off. The online hackathon officially opens, running through October 6th. That gives participants 2 weeks to turn all of that knowledge into a workable project. Now, I know that that was a lot of dates and tech talk, right? The gist is that VeChain is essentially holding a free bootcamp that ends in a hackathon. Now, for newbies, it's like a blockchain 101 crash course plus a chance to shine. For seasoned devs, it's a quick way to get up to speed on VeChain's specific tools and maybe snag the prize, or maybe even meet collaborators. And yeah, that's the $30,000 prize dangled at the end. I won't lie, even if you have all of the passion in the world, a fat prize purse doesn't hurt motivation either. Now, it's kind of like VeChain saying, we're serious about this and we're willing to put money on the table to prove it. 30 grand can launch a small project, or at least keep your kind of stocked in noodles and Red Bull for a good old while. And by the way, I was chatting about this in in our Discord server and people are pretty hyped. Here's a shameless plug though, because we do actually have a free educational Discord. The link is in the description. And we kind of geek out about this stuff all the time, and you're welcome to join and say hi. It's a friendly bunch, I do promise you that. So what kind of projects is VeChain hoping to see from all of this then? Well, we're here, or at least here's kind of where it gets a little bit interesting, right? Because they're not just looking for any cool application, right? They want real world impact. Many of VeChain's hackathons, zero in on areas like sustainability, the automotive industry, or building new tools to strengthen the VeChain Thor blockchain. Now, this isn't actually a contest to make the next meme coin or some throwaway prototype. So for example, in that Cambridge hackathon that I mentioned, a ton, or at least a lot of teams, they actually built things to encourage sustainable actions in daily life. One winning project, Meatless, literally rewarded people for choosing plant-based foods by giving them crypto tokens. And another, EcoNext, it gave tokens to commuters for actually taking eco-friendly transportation. So in other words, these developers were building apps that do some good, not just some kind of crypto world, but in the actual real world. And VeChain isn't doing all this for feel-good reasons. Hackathons like this often focus on VeChain's bread and butter, things like the supply chain transparency, the sustainability. VeChain has a whole VeBetter DAO for green initiatives, right? And enterprise use cases. The idea is to generate tools and dApps that businesses or consumers might actually use, which in turn drives adoption for the VeChain network itself. Now, what's more is that these hackathons come with perks beyond just prize money. Mentorship, grants, and even investor exposure are on the table here. So if you build something promising, VeChain and its partners might actually tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, let's actually make this a real product. Now, past hackathon participants have gotten at least follow-on funding, and some have even formed startups. It's like going on kind of Shark Tank, right? Except you've already built the prototype and all the sharks are into blockchain. Now, this approach has been a bit of a secret sauce for VeChain's growth. By regularly hosting these events, they're steadily growing a community of skilled developers around their platform. It's a clever long game, right? Every hackathon yields a few cool projects, but more importantly, it leaves dozens of participants thinking VeChain is pretty awesome to build on. And, well, that word spreads. Now, being the nosy kind of guy that I am, I had to see if VeChain had a track record here or in the UK hackathon initiatives, was brand new or something like that. Turns out that VeChain's been doing this homework for years. Way back in 2020, VeChain partnered with the RMIT Blockchain Innovation Hub in Australia to work on blockchain governance research. Not a hackathon per se, but it does show that they've been tight with the academia, digging into how to make blockchain more effective and decentralized. Now, the folks at RMIT, which is a big tech university in Melbourne, were exploring how to create better frameworks for blockchain consensus and governance. VeChain basically said, let's get the professors and the PhDs on this. And it was kind of cool, right? Jump to late 2023, VeChain goes Ivy League, right? They co-host a hackathon at Harvard University with a startup called EasyA, which is like a Web3 learning app, and none other than the Boston Consulting Group, BCG. And yes, one of those big three consulting firms was involved. So it was legit. Now, they had a $30,000 prize pool there too, and it was all about building on VeChain 4 with a focus on sustainability. Now, I remember reading that over 200 top developers were invited, people from Google, Meta, Coinbase, plus students at Harvard, MIT, Yale, etc., all coding their way in this brand new science, complex at Harvard. It was a 36-hour frenzy of innovation. The winners not only got cash, but also the chance to pitch for venture funding. Now, that event basically said to the blockchain world, hey, VeChain is serious and you might want to pay attention. Then in March of 2024, they did it again at the University of Cambridge in the UK. This time it was very targeted. One track for solving problems in the automotive industry, another for those sustainability X-to-earn apps on VeChain's VeBetter DAO platform. They even had a pre-hackathon workshop with panels on sustainable tech to get everyone's juices flowing. By the end, they had something like 50 plus projects submitted. The winners built apps to incentivize sustainable shopping, travel, and even freight logistics. And of course, each of those got a slice of the $30,000 prize and access to extra funding and mentorship opportunities. So at least the latest push in 2025 with the UK workshops and global hackathon, it is not happening in isolation, right? It's a continuation of a strategy. Now, VeChain is basically building out an army of developers and doing it by collaborating with educational institutions and offering tangible rewards. As someone who's been in the crypto space for a while, I find that really refreshing, right? A lot of projects, they talk a big game about building, but VeChain is actually doing it, and they're doing it consistently. Now, at this point, you might be wondering, this is all great for developers, but why should the rest of us care? What does it mean for, let's say, a VET token holder or someone watching the crypto markets? Well, in crypto, more ball builders usually means more utility, which hopefully means a stronger network in the long run. It's kind of like cultivating fertile soil, right? You might not see the sprouts immediately, but you're setting the stage for growth. Literally, as I was pondering that, another piece of news dropped into my lap. Keyrock has joined as a VeChain Authority masternode. Now, if you haven't heard of Keyrock, they're the big time crypto market maker. Think liquidity provider, the kind of people who ensure that you can buy and sell without huge price jumps. Now, they operate in over 36 countries and have a 170 plus member team. For context, becoming an authority masternode on VeChain Thor isn't like spinning up a Minecraft server. It's a major commitment. So let me tell you, right, becoming a VeChain validator isn't some weekend hobby. It's a serious commitment, right? You need dedicated hardware. You must stake those 25 million VET tokens, and you have to pass strict KYC checks. That's VeChain's got this kind of vid, right? Or for that, right? ID, digital ID, essentially, right? Now, Keyrock, jumping through all of those hoops, it signals that they aren't just just testing the waters here. They're actually all in. To me, Keyrock's move is like a Wall Street firm saying, yep, we trust this network enough to put skin in the game. And that trust likely stems from seeing all the real-world activity and development happening on VeChain, not just speculation. Now, Keyrock coming in is a huge vote of confidence, right? The kind of Brussels-based firm normally spends its time ensuring exchanges have plenty of liquidity and smooth trading. For them to kind of park at least 25 million VET as collateral and take on the job of validating blocks, they must see some real potential, right? Their official line was that it supports network security and liquidity for VET and V4. Now which kind of makes sense, right? But reading between the lines here, it's kind of like they're saying, we believe VeChain's about to step into the big leagues of adoption and we want to be a part of that. Now, their team blends crypto native expertise with traditional finance compliance. Basically, they're the grown-ups, then they are arriving, right? The fact that Keyrock's roots are half in crypto world and half in the regulated finance world tells me that VeChain is doing something right to attract such players. Now, many crypto projects love to toss around the phrase mass adoption as a bit of a buzzword, but here I can see VeChain actually putting in the work to achieve it. Educating developers, partnering with academia, incentivizing useful dApps, and bringing on reputable validators. It's a holistic approach, right? Kind of like planting a forest one seed at a time rather than trying to kind of tape leaves onto a dead tree, which I've seen plenty of the latter in crypto, unfortunately. Now, I know, I'm sounding pretty bullish on VeChain's efforts, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that VeChain or any other cryptocurrency is perfect, but as someone who likes real-world use cases, this is the kind of thing that gets me excited beyond just price charts. But hey, before I let my enthusiasm run away, let me drop a little necessary reality check. And this one, it might just shock you, but I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing in this video is financial advice. Cryptocurrencies are highly volatile, and you could lose all of the money that you invest. You should always do your own research and consult a qualified professional. After all, your investments are entirely your responsibility, and you should know that nothing is ever guaranteed when it comes to investing. Neither I, this channel, nor YouTube are liable for any losses, and this video today is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Alright, so thanks for sitting through that. Had to be done. Now let's get back to the story. When all's said and done, what's the takeaway from my little adventure here? Well, for me, it's that sometimes the real adoption in crypto isn't in the price feed or some flashy headline, but it's actually in the quiet, steady building that's happening behind the scenes. Now, VeChain is playing the long game here. So instead of only hyping up their coin, they're investing in people and their ideas. Like, they're showing up at universities, dangling carrots for developers, improving the tech. And did I mention that they also have major upgrades like POA 2.0 and all of that? That's a whole nother story. And for now, even attracting big institutional invalidators, right? It's about watching, or it's like watching a city being built brick by brick rather than a tent kind of being propped up overnight. And you know what? It's kind of infectious, right? I started off as an observer, but I'm seriously considering participating in that online hackathon come September. I might not win anything, right? But the experience, it could be fun. Maybe I'll team up with a few folks from our Discord, right? We have a coding enthusiasts in there, and all again, right? You're welcome to hop into, the link is down below. Even if I don't place anywhere, we'll learn a lot. We'll learn a whole ton, in fact. And if we do, well, drinks will be on me. $30,000 buys a lot of drinks. And so, to wrap things up, let me kind of also mention something for those kind of thinking, VeChain sounds interesting, right? If you're curious about exploring VeChain or any other cryptocurrency, you're going to need a reliable exchange. Personally, I use Kraken Pro for a lot of my trading, right? I like their interface and I like their low fees. Now, full disclosure, I have an affiliate link for Kraken Pro and it is chilling in the description down below. And if you use that link, sign up and trade, it supports the channel here. Now, it doesn't cost you anything extra. It just lets Kraken know that I sent you there. It's no pressure to use it at all, but if you do, I really do appreciate it. It helps helps me spend more time doing these deep dives with things like this instead of worrying about, well, the electricity bill. Now, I have to say, this whole journey gave me a new appreciation for VeChain. It started with a random tweet and ended with me feeling like I peered behind the curtain of how crypto projects can actually grow. It's not just about the tech or the hype, it's about the people building, people learning, and believing in a vision. Now, VeChain's vision, it seems to be Web3 for real-world uses, and they're actively forging the path to get there, one developer at a time. So will all of this effort pay off in terms of VeChain's adoption and maybe even its market value? Well, we're going to see. I'm not making any price predictions here, but I'll definitely be watching, right? And not just about the price. I'm going to be watching the hackathon submissions, the new tools, the dApps that come out of it, and how the community grows off the back of all of this, because that's the stuff that often signals where things are actually heading. And all right, that's it for my little story here today. It was a little bit different, wasn't it, right? A little bit of detective work, a little dash of nostalgia from my college days, and a whole lot of excitement for what is coming. Now, if you've enjoyed coming along with the ride with me, then do me a favor, smash that subscribe button so that you don't miss the next adventure. I've got a feeling there are plenty more to come in the crypto world, and I'd love you guys to be right here with me.